Hey, how's it going, guys? Happy New Year. I wanted to take the time at the beginning of this video to wish you all the best for the new year of 2026. And today, to start the year in strength, as every beginning of the month, I'll share with you my full investing portfolio update for the month of January of 2026. As always, we'll first start by taking a look at what are the different individual companies and ETFs that I hold in my portfolio, and then we'll make a quick overlook of what are the different sectors that are the most represented in it. After it, we'll take a look at how much income I've been able to generate completely passively from my dividend stocks and ETFs in 2025, but also for the month of December. And we'll finish by taking a peek at what are the different transactions that I've made over the past month. As you can see by my different technology companies that I have in my portfolio, the picture remains pretty much the same as for December, where I still have 4 of the big GAFAM, so companies such as Apple, Meta, Google, and Amazon, as well as Elon Musk companies Tesla. And you can see that all of these companies are all worth between 3 to 8% of my total assets each, and they are also all massively up except Amazon that has been underperforming lately. In terms of the energy sector, I still have 2 of the biggest Canadian energy and oil companies in my investing portfolio, where I hold both Enbridge and Pembina, and where you can see that Enbridge only by itself is currently worth slightly less than 10% of my total assets right now, and where you can also see that both of these companies have been performing well while giving great quarterly dividends. Talking about 2 other companies that are giving great quarterly dividends, it is also the 2 financial companies that I have in my portfolio, which is first one of the largest Canadian banks in the TD Bank, as well as one of the world's largest insurance companies, which is Manulife. In both cases, these companies are basically worth about 7% of my assets, and Manulife on its side is doing some crazy return lately, returning close to 134% of unrealized profit. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for the only communication company that I have in my portfolio, which is TELUS, that is currently down about 32% compared to the average price that I've paid for the shares. And it is one of the reasons why lately, even if this company is giving some great dividends, I've been thinking about selling a certain portion, if not all of this company, to reinvest that money somewhere else. After, I also hold a few shares of one of the world's largest convenience store brands, which is the business Couche-Tard, where this business hasn't been the best performer in 2025, but hopefully it will be able to rebound in 2026. I still hold a few shares of the monthly dividend company Savaria, which is basically a wheelchair and stairlift manufacturer, but in their case, they have been able to perform quite well over the past year, where I currently have some unrealized profit on it of slightly more than 50%. When it comes to a company that is pretty much stagnating in terms of their valuation over the past couple of months and years, but that is still giving great monthly income, it is the real estate investment trust company Raucan. And at the moment, since you also know that I am looking to invest and buy next properties over the next year, obviously I might be thinking about also selling a few shares of this company, which won't be that useful for me in the long run. And finally, the last individual company that I have in my portfolio is the small Quebec company 5N+, which only represents about 1% of my assets, but that is up more than 286%. Now, when it comes to the ETF section, you can see that by far the largest holding of my portfolio is the Vanguard S&P 500 Index ETF with the ticker VFV. This ETF that is tracking the 500 largest American companies by valuation has been returning some great return over the past couple of years, where I currently have some unrealized gain of over 60%. Eventually, over the next couple of months and years, I want to be able to also increase the ponderation in this ETF to at least 15 to 20% of my total assets in my portfolio. Now, for another ETF where I want also to increase my ponderation in it over the next couple of months and years, it is the iShares Core Equity portfolio with the ticker XEQT. On its side, this ETF is basically tracking the global stock market, and it currently represents slightly less than 4% of my assets with some unrealized gain of over 32%. For my Canadian ETF tracking the Canadian market, I have decided to invest into the iShares S&P TSX ETF with the ticker XIU. On its part, this ETF that is also worth slightly less than 4% of my assets is currently up about 45% compared to my average price. In my RRSP, I also have a few shares of the famous Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF with the ticker SCHD. This fund, tracking some of the highest dividend companies in the US market, is currently worth only about 1% of my assets, but it is up close to 14% on it. And finally, my liquidity reserve is held in the Global X High Interest Savings Account ETF with the ticker CASH. At the moment, this ETF is currently worth slightly less than 9% of my assets, but over the next couple of days, I'll be selling a certain portion of it basically to pay back a certain portion of the capital on my mortgage. But nevertheless, for the next couple of months, I will re-increase this liquidity reserve basically to have between 10 to 20% of my assets in it, which will be used obviously for my different real estate projects and unexpected expenses. So it makes that overall my investing portfolio is currently worth slightly less than $200,000 right now, which represents some unrealized gain of slightly less than 60% or slightly less than $75,000. Here for my ETF section, you can still see that it doesn't represent a big portion of my assets right now, but eventually, as I mentioned, I want to increase this ponderation to at least 40 to 50% of my total assets in the near future. But right now, it is currently worth about $55,000. It has some unrealized profit of about $12,642 with some unrealized gain of close to 30%. When it comes to the sectoral distribution, you can find that with no surprise, the technology sector and the ETFs portion are the two largest sectors in my investing portfolio that are currently worth close to 60% of my assets. Then the two other largest sectors are the financial sector as well as the energy sectors that are both worth between 15 to 12% of them. And then we also have other sectors such as the real estate sector, the consumption sector, the material sectors, as well as the communication sector. Finally, for the dividend income that I've been able to generate completely passively in December of 2025, you can see that this amount is of about $311, which comes from the payments of multiple companies and ETFs such as Pembina, Manulife, and Raucan. So it brings my total passive income that I've been able to generate completely passively from my dividend investments in 2025 to about $3,500 for the year. But as you can see, by calculating what is the dividend yield on my investing portfolio that is currently of slightly less than 2%, it is still low compared to what it will be over the next couple of decades, notably when I'll reach my retirement, because at the moment I am looking to invest as much as possible for growth, and it is why I notably invest a big portion of my total investments straight into great technology companies and ETFs that are not necessarily paying some high dividends. And for the only transaction that I've made over the past month of December, you can see that I've only bought a few more shares of the cash ETF to re-increase my liquidity reserve eventually to put that money back on my mortgage. But now, if you're looking to find what is going to be my investing plan for 2026 and what are going to be my objectives for the new year, well, check out the video that's going to be right over here and I will see you soon. Peace!